Hey guys, and welcome back to Money Wise Tax Pros. My name is Tara. I'm the owner, and I just want to come and give you all some tips on 1099 contractors and also my self-employed workers, because I have been getting a lot of calls and messages asking me about tax planning and how they can plan for the next year. So some of the tips I give my 1099 workers is I make sure I tell them to keep track of all of their expenses, keep up with their income, make sure they know exactly where they worked at, for the year, because some of them have worked for multiple companies. So it's important to keep up with those 1099 income statements, so we can track the income. And keeping up with your expenses is very key. And your expenses include anything you have used to purchase for the job. Say, for instance, if you're a nurse, you may have purchased a stethoscope. If you are a contractor for like a plumbing company or something like that, you probably purchase new boots, clothes, eyewear, things like that. So whatever you use for that contract job, you can write off. So I encourage them to make sure they keep track of everything. So yes, if you had a lunch break and you mentioned work, you talked about planning for your contract job and things like that, you can write that off. There are so many ways you can write off, but it's important as a 1099 worker for you to keep up with all of your documents, expenses, your mileage, your income, and anything you've paid for. So those are some tips that I give them to make sure that they are on track. And as far as tax planning, if you feel like you're gonna make $100,000 within that first year, you have to be on those expenses. You have to know that 15.3% belongs to the government, because as a self-employed person, you do not pay taxes such as Social Security and Medicaid. So with that, they have to get that money back somewhere. So if you don't write off anything, you're going to be liable for everything. If you made $40,000 and you can write off $10,000 in expenses, that means only $30,000 is taxable. So just think, if you had a dependent or something like that to carry, then, okay, you're good. You'll get some money back. But if you don't have your expenses tracked, we can't write anything off. And you shouldn't want to write anything off unless you have proof of purchases. But as far as tax planning, if you think you're going to owe the IRS more than $1,000, I would definitely go ahead and start a payment plan. And with that, you can pay the IRS quarterly. You can pay them monthly. However you would prefer to set that up. Because if you go ahead and make those payments throughout the year, you'll either get that back or it'll cut some of your tax liability debt that you may owe the IRS at the end of the year. So yes, y'all, my 1099 workers, keep track of everything. If you're in someone else's car driving as an Uber, those are miles that you can use. If you're a hairdresser and you work out of your home, you can write off your rent, mortgage, your light bill, water bill. You can write off so many things, but you have to keep up with all your receipts. So I really encourage you all to make sure y'all are on track. And if you need help with tax planning, my name is Tara. I am a tax professional. I'm virtual. So you can contact me and we can set up some time to talk and discuss, especially if you're going to be in that bracket of making so much money where you need to pay something throughout the year. And you all, it is June, so let's just get on and let's get started, because you don't want to be at the at the beginning of tax season filing your taxes and then on the IRS thousands of dollars when you could have taken care of some of that at the beginning of the year. Well, like right now, you could be taking care of some of that debt, clearing some of that debt up. And kudos to you if you get some money back, if you're depending on the tax bracket you're in. But yeah, ask me some questions in the comments. If you're a 1099 worker and you need some advice, Ask me a question, let me know. And if you like this video and feel that it does help you, make sure you give me a like, subscribe to the channel. Y'all, this channel is fairly new, so make sure you can go in there and watch some of my past videos. And thank you all so much for tuning in. I will see you in my next video.